Out in the vast frozen expanse of the Arctic, there's this island of ice. It's remote, it's imposing, and for centuries, honestly, it's been on the sidelines of world affairs. But suddenly, that's all changed. This island has become a global focal point, a key piece on the chessboard of great power competition. Today, we're going to break down exactly why Greenland matters so much. So, this question really blew up when the United States floated the idea of actually purchasing the island. And that just reignited a debate that's, believe it or not, a century old. The world was just stunned. Why would the most powerful nation on Earth want to buy a massive sheet of ice? Well, the answer reveals a whole lot about the future of global security. The first, and you could say the most important reason, it all comes down to one thing you just can't change: location, location, location. Greenland's geography makes it one of the most strategic pieces of real estate on the entire planet.
I want you to think of Greenland as a kind of unsinkable aircraft carrier, just sitting there in the North Atlantic. It's positioned directly between North America and Europe, which is the perfect spot to monitor the shortest air and missile routes connecting potential adversaries. And, crucially, it anchors a critical naval choke point.
And that choke point is known as the GIUK Gap. Ever since World War II, NATO has used this corridor to keep tabs on Russian naval movements coming out of the Arctic and into the open Atlantic. So if you control or even just have access to Greenland, it means you have eyes and ears on one of the most vital sea lanes for transatlantic security. It's a huge deal. For military planners, this location is everything. It is the absolute ideal spot for early warning radar systems, the kind that can detect and track any potential missile threats from Russia or China that might come over the pole. That position gives you invaluable time to react. And here's the thing. The United States is already there. Under a defense treaty with Denmark that goes all the way back to 1951, the U.S. operates Pituffik Space Base in northwest Greenland. This base is literally a cornerstone of North American missile defense and space surveillance. So you see, this isn't some brand new interest, it's a deepening one. But look, military strategy is only part of the story. There's a new kind of gold rush just beginning because buried beneath all that ice, well, there's a treasure trove of resources. We're talking about vast reserves of rare earth minerals, which are absolutely essential for everything from your smartphone to advanced jet fighters. There are also huge deposits of copper and uranium. These aren't just commodities, right? They are the building blocks of the entire 21st century global economy and, of course, its defense industries. And this is where a powerful paradox comes into play. Climate change is causing that ice sheet to melt at an alarming rate. But as the ice recedes, it's exposing this immense mineral wealth, making it more accessible and economically attractive to actually go in and extract it. So in effect, a climate crisis is unlocking a new economic frontier. But this combination of military and economic interests, it didn't lead to some simple business deal. Oh no. Instead, it triggered a diplomatic firestorm, putting the United States on a collision course with some of its closest allies. The response from both Denmark and Greenland was swift, it was unified, and it was absolute. It was really all captured in this one simple, powerful statement: sovereignty is not for sale. For them, this wasn't about money or strategic assets, it was about national identity. And for many Greenlanders, it was part of a much longer journey toward greater autonomy and self-determination. So this created a clash of two totally opposing worldviews. The U.S. was framing the issue as a matter of national security. But Denmark, Greenland, and their EU partners saw it as a fundamental question of sovereignty and international law. There just was no middle ground. And this is exactly why analysts started calling it the Greenland crisis. Not because there was some imminent military threat, but because it was a crisis of trust. It revealed this deep rift between NATO allies on fundamental principles, really testing the very fabric of the transatlantic relationship. Now, this crisis didn't just happen in a vacuum. The whole situation in Greenland is really a symptom of a much larger geopolitical shift, the reheating of competition across the entire Arctic region. If you look at the key players and what they're after, it's pretty clear the region is getting crowded. The U.S. is focused on security and surveillance. Russia is aggressively expanding its military footprint to control the northern sea route. And China, which now calls itself a near-Arctic state, is looking for economic influence and access to new shipping lanes. For the NATO alliance, this was a major wake-up call. The pressure that one member put on another over territory, while it seriously strained internal trust. But on the other hand, it also forced the entire alliance to sharpen its focus on Arctic security,
a region that maybe it had neglected for a little too long.
Ultimately, the key takeaway here is that the entire Arctic is becoming a zone of heightened military and strategic importance. The era of the Arctic being just a peaceful, frozen wilderness, that's definitively over.
The European Union, for its part, has responded by strengthening its own Arctic policy. It has drawn a really firm line in the sand defending its member Denmark, making it crystal clear that the territorial integrity of European nations is non-negotiable. This principled stand, though, has definitely created its own friction with Washington.
So, Greenland today stands at this incredible crossroads of melting ice, untapped resources, and growing military tension. It's really a microcosm of the challenges that are defining our century. And it leaves us with one final critical question. Is this island the world's next global flashpoint?